And welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment of our program brought to you by El Chico. They are still open for takeout, curbside, or delivery. This North Knoxville institution is offering family pack enchilada meals, fajitas for 6 to 8 people, as you can see there. And when you order food, you can get a 64-ounce Texas-style margarita to go. That's just $20 for 64 ounces with food through El Chico. And they wanted to point out, they can put ice in it if they want, but if you don't want ice, and you just do the ice at home, it's 64 complete ounces of Texas-style margarita. El Chico, get out and support our fine sponsors here at the Sports Source. All right, well, this is the first time we've done this on the show, and my guess is it'll be glitchy, but glitchy is good, I guess. It's better than nothing. So we have with us VFL Mike Stoll joining us from his home. If we can go to, there we go. Hey, Mike, how are you?
John, I'm doing good.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you for joining us on this Sunday morning. How are things at the house, stuck with your family?
Challenging. 3 competitive kids fighting over each other. At least we have 15 acres that I can put them in corners and they won't be near each other.
Well, that's good.
That's good.
I appreciate that. Well, look, first of all, before I had you on because you've been on our show before and people know you're in the medical sales business and you have been for many years. We've had you as part of our prostate cancer awareness push year in and year out. But you're now, tell folks who you're working for and what it is specifically that you're selling.
Okay, John. So I'm with GE Healthcare, and I run the Gulf Coast division, which makes up Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee. Our products that I represent, I have anesthesia, critical care monitoring, ventilators, and diagnostic cardiology. So I manage that group of business in the Gulf Coast. So as you can imagine, with GE, we're very, very busy right now.
I bet. Now, we talked last week, and you were giving me. It's amazing to me there are still people, Mike, who don't take this seriously. You gave me, I don't want to paint too bleak a picture here, but you painted a picture for me of what's going on in New Orleans right now, and it's not great.
Yeah, New Orleans is starting to see more media attention, and we've seen it for the last 3.5 weeks. We're trying to ship in monitors for critical care. We're being asked for ventilators, and hospitals can't stand up rooms fast enough to admit COVID patients. So it is a really tough situation down there. I believe New Orleans now is the #1 for death toll from COVID-related illness, and so it's really a tough situation.
Well, let's get to the positive news, and I do this every week just to try and give folks a little respite from the bad news. And GE Healthcare announced recently you're going into work with somebody else who was out of work, but you're doing some good. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so it's amazing how fast, when the government wants to work, they can work. And so they created a partnership with Ford Motor Company, General Electric, and we brought in a small standalone company that has a very simple critical care ventilation device. Okay, so most ventilators, anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 working parts within the a piece of equipment. So people, I guess you can kind of understand, lead times are long. Why these things just aren't sitting on the shelves. You don't just make them and put them on a shelf. You build them as they go. So that's why there's such a shortage. Ford and GM are working together so that there is a very simple, for this pandemic situation, to create a simple ventilator that probably has about 400 to 500 working parts. They're taking Ford's expertise in tooling and automotive kind of assembly line. GE's kind of overseeing some of the things, and they're hoping to produce about 50,000 ventilators in a month, which is desperately needed.
That's terrific. I mean, we need signs of good things happening. And I've been telling my friends for the last 2 or 3 weeks, even past that, you look back to World War II, when this country said, instead of a car, you're now making a bomber. You're now making a tank. And I had people saying to me, well, that takes time, so get on it. So I'm glad that folks are now getting on it, and that's terrific that your company is working with Ford to create that many ventilators and get them out in the market and save lives.
Yeah, desperately needed, John. And I would just reconfirm, I still see people out. Stay inside. stay in, don't go out in the public. The reason there's a shortage and a projected shortage for ventilators because people aren't adhering to social distancing. And it's just such a tricky virus how it spreads. You got to stay isolated so that you don't have these peaks. So if your loved one gets sick, they will have a ventilator available if they need be. So, stay inside, stay away from everybody, go outside, but don't be near people. And then, get through this thing.
Mike Stoll, thank you, buddy, for joining us. I appreciate it.
John, thanks for having me on.
You got it. All right, we'll have you, now that we can do it, we'll have you on again. That's former Vol captain VFL Mike Stoll. When we come back, we're going to talk about some other options for sports fans, some things that, we talked last week about short conference schedules. Are there other types of sports that the leagues could be looking at? We'll discuss. Come on back on the Sports Source.